we're going to be looking at understanding story arcs. So what is a story arc? A story arc, also known as the narrative arc, is an extended or continuing storyline in an episodic storytelling media such as television, comic books, comic strips, board games, video games, and films, with each episode following a dramatic arc. In the broadest terms, the story arc is shaped by the beginning, middle, and end of story. Now we're going to look at understanding the common problems in story arcs. The first problem is the flat line. The flat line is when the story just doesn't have an arc. It leaves the readers with the impression that nothing is happening and that the story is stalled, if it ever started at all. Another problem arc is the inverted arc, and this is where the story that's exciting at the beginning, but it gets progressively less interesting in the middle and then becomes exciting again in the last 50 pages. The next common problem arc is the plateau arc. Now what happens here is the action begins to rise, then tapers off for a while. Sometimes it happens because the events of the plot don't actually build off one another, so the characters move from one event to the next, but the tension doesn't accumulate. Another reason this happens is because there simply isn't enough plot to carry the story. The next common problem is the crunched climaxed arc. Now, what happens here is this is when the story progresses smoothly to the end, then crunches the climax into the last 15 pages. It's also isn't uncommon for such stories to leave off resolutions. This usually leaves the ending of the story feeling abrupt. It often happens because the writer isn't sure how to pace the ending, or gets to a certain point in the story and realises they need to wrap things up, but aren't sure how to do it.
Quote by Mark Twain. Notice, persons attempting to find a motive in this narrative will be prosecuted. Persons attempting to find a moral in it will be banished. Persons attempting to find a plot in it will be shot by order of the author, per G.G. Chief of Ordnance. End quote. Quote by Walter Mosley. We must remember that there's more than one story and plot in every novel. There are at least as many stories as there are main characters, and each of these stories has to have multiple plots to keep it going. Blood and bone, nerve and tissue, forgotten longing and unknown events. End quote.